Hello, my name's Patrick. Welcome to my show. I'm a dowser, and here are some of my dowsing tools. I have first these are called divining rods, and they're really good. And my premise in dowsing, and I get more accuracy if I actually do some protection protocols beforehand and a couple prayers and things of that nature. You have to find out what works for you, and because you have your own angels and guides and so forth. And anyway, I also treat these as they have souls, and so treat them with respect. I find that helps too. And there's intimacy involved too. Have you ever seen the priest will kiss their garments before they put them on? You're bringing respect and intimacy of a very divine nature to the relationship with it. And usually when I start, I just go, I say, divining rod, turn on. You know, you ask it to turn on, and it will. My other techniques, I have a few. This is a pendulum I use all the time now. And I went on Amazon actually and found it. And they just have like hundreds of different, and I just point at it. And I went and see which one had the highest vibration for me. Now, it differs for people. I have another one. It has a little piece of lapis. It's a sphere. And I had a really high rating with that compared to a lower rating with a different stone, like a crystal or rose quartz or anyways, it was a lapis azul, and I got a real high rating, so I got it. And it works really good. And so does this one. This one's a little bit heavier. This is the one I told you about, Christopher Hill's. He wrote a lot of books on dowsing. He used to give courses back in the 80s, and I think he passed away in the late 90s. This is one of his, and he used to make it, I put a little piece of lapis at the end of it. He used to make these very particular for what you're asking. So whatever the category, he designed these. I think this was for being creative. And here's one. This is an odd one. He has different colors. Very heavy, and it's been many years. But anyway, this one's a little bit shorter string, and you can see it. Can you see it? It wiggles a lot. And anyway, my theory of dowsing is different than others, and that's okay. You know, they can get into this very particular science. They're trying to scientifically prove its merit through, you know, your little tiny micro muscles are influencing the instrument, and it's a biofeedback device. You're getting feedback from your higher self. I don't know if they really say that, but that's how I see it. You're speaking through your higher self, through your subconscious, and those are all issues along the way. I really don't want to get into too much. I just wanted to say, I also think it's the condition of the auric field of the dowser. If you are taking drugs or a lot of alcohol and things like that, it's going to affect the dowsing. All right? And so to clear up, to become a clear channel, as it says, because essentially it's a form of channeling. Any kind of, even prayer. You know, when you get into certain prayers in the Christian tradition, all the Gregorian chants, they actually move you into a different realm of consciousness, you know, and it's semi-trance, you know. And then the psychologists came, and we can measure all this, you know. We got alpha and stuff. The psychologists don't know anything. Psychiatry doesn't know anything. But I was corrected by a army guy, and he had people under his command. When the kids get kind of going off to like weird stuff like Satan worshiping and stuff, so what do? He said, well, you send them to the psychologist, and he said they did a pretty good job. So they go through their checklist, the psychologists, and they refocus. And, essentially that's part of growing up. The young people need to be focused, or they're going to have idle time and they're going to wander and get in trouble. Anyway, I believe in a lot of these questions and my protection I use, it's all in my auric field, which is out there and it's all around. And it's actually the heart chakras reaching out and influencing this. All right? And the other message centers to the divine and to what I refer to as Christ consciousness, or the prime source. Another word for, there's a lot of words for getting there, but the power structure of our life, and for a long, long time, the biblical demons and things, they're just interfering all the time, so you can't contact your higher self. And it was really Pope Nicholas the First, about 850 AD. He said, you can no longer go out in the woods and talk to Christ on your own, pretty much. You have to come to the church to come to Christ. And probably the only thing, one of the best things about paganism and Buddhism is the direct communication that you have, the direct relationship. So the church didn't want to be on the sideline. The church wanted to be part of the channel. And that's where all the problems are, because to empower yourself to have clear, you have to get rid of all this. And you have to get rid of alcohol, tobacco, whatever addiction you can think of. There's so many on this planet. And in particular, marijuana is not good. And what's the other one? Oh, prescription drugs. People don't realize that prescription drugs. Now, I'm not saying don't take prescription drugs. I'm saying it does affect it. And you have to make compromises along the way. You have to stay alive. And a lot of the drugs are good and a lot of them aren't. You're going to have to discern that. And and the whole idea is you peel away at that which is obstructing your communication with your higher self, and you'll get a clearer and clearer and clearer channel. But there's negative forces and energies about us that interfere. Okay? And so that's the whole thing about trying to douse clearly. Let's look at this really fast. Okay, am I connected? Yes. So this is my favorite. Okay, what I wanted to say, how much does alcohol, let's say, let's say you drink every day. I'm not sure. Does that impact your dowsing? Yes, no. Does that impact your dowsing? Yes. On average, how much does that impact the overall accuracy of your dowsing? Just the alcohol. So alcohol is like almost 20%. Is that 20%? It's more than 15%, yes? Yes, can you give me a number? Okay, it's more like 17%. Okay, 17%. Okay, let's go on to marijuana use. Let's say you smoke some marijuana every day. How much does that influence it? It's another 15 to 20. Looks like another 17. Let's call it 17. So you're up to 32%. How about prescription drugs? How about prescription drugs? Let's say I have to ask the question a little bit more clear. How about you're taking 2 prescription drugs per day? Or whatever, prescriptions per day. On average, for the totality, that's another 17%. Those 17s are adding up. And am I missing anything? Cocaine? Cocaine all by itself is 45%. It's almost 50% interference. 45%. Gee, and you know, our goal is to get you over 90 to 95%. So you can see how fast you can lose clarity. So I would say, how about moderate use of alcohol? See, I get down below 10. See that? Moderate. What's moderate? How about 2 drinks a day? How about 2 glasses of wine a day? 3 glasses. I just popped up to 17. So there's your Troy. Is 2 enough for you to get numb from this world? You can do 2 and only impact it about 10%. The prescription drug, please. You know, 1 prescription drug. It's going to depend on the drug, I know. This is not a good question. There's so many. Yeah, it's like they say, okay, 10% for 1 and 17% for 2. So how to get this over 90%? There you go. So these things do influence you